And, you know, don't get too excited, I don't rumble, so. I'm a facilitator, not a Tony Robbins. And when I came in today, I introduced myself to many of you, and I asked you how you were doing. And many of you said fine, some said good, okay. Some verb, some four-letter word you were. But when you ask somebody how they're doing, are you really interested? Or is that just something you say? And when you tell them, I'm fine, I'm okay, is it just a pat thing you say? Or is it honest? It doesn't come from the heart. Thank you for the introduction, fellow Toastmasters. And I know we have at least 2 guests here today. Thank you for being here. This presentation is from our Tools for a Successful Living workshop. I developed this specifically for Habitat for Humanity, and we've been delivering it for the last 4 years in the San Gabriel Valley. We've helped a lot of families. So, when we go to school, we spend years and years and years learning to read, learning to write, learning arithmetic. And if you're really lucky, you'll get A class in speech. And that's why most of us are here at Toastmasters, to learn how to be better speakers. But how many listening classes have you taken? Probably none. It's not taught. It's one of the lost arts in our society, I think. And so we specifically teach it. Not too long ago, very recently actually, a couple of very high-profile, successful people that seemed to have it all. They had success, they had money, they had fame, and yet they committed suicide. Clearly, their outer world success did not match their inner world reality. But was anyone listening to them? Did anyone hear what they were saying? So this is what communication often looks like in our society. People talk at you. Came up here with a book there. They talk at you. Spouses often do this. They're chattering away, not listening. People that are really angry, when people are shouting, they're not listening. And sometimes infomercial people. This is the greatest book you'll ever read. I wrote this book. It's 10 years of my research. This will save your life. Buy this book now. What did it feel like? You want to buy my book now?
No.
No. Generally, for me, I would run away. I'm out of here. But it activates the fight or fight response. To demonstrate this, how long do you want?
Of course.
Put your hand up. You're strong. What did I ask him?
Put your hand up.
Put your hand up. Did I say push back?
No.
It's a natural response. Push back. Or we run away. We'll talk to you. Any parents here? Do you talk to your kids? Need another volunteer. You're in a business meeting and you're talking to a colleague about a project you're working on. Who would like to say this?
What were you thinking?
What were you thinking? Your kid just screwed up, he wrecked the car, and you're really angry. Now say this word, now sentence. Somebody.
What were you thinking?
What were you thinking? Very different interview. What more do you think? This, best parent. Be quiet and listen. What happens when you say be quiet and listen? And only the first part gets heard, be quiet. So they won't talk, and then they shut down, and they're not listening either. So it becomes parents talking at their kids again. So not much communication. And our NLP people that are here, I like to encourage you to use the word, I want to talk with you. With is inclusive. It includes more than just one. Unless you like monologues. This is one of my favorite quotes. It's from Carl Rogers. He was a preeminent psychologist in the humanist movement. Almost always when a person realizes he's being deeply heard, his eyes moisten. I think in some real sense he is weeping for joy, as if though he were saying, thank you, God, somebody heard me. Somebody knows what it's like to be me. A fundamental need of human beings is to be heard. And even at a deeper level, to be felt. So in our continuum of listening, some people say, oh, there's 4 levels of listening. There's 3 levels of listening. No, it's a continuum. There's all kinds of levels of listening. But at the base level, there's not listening at all. And this goes on all the time. I have an example. I was sitting with my wife on the couch. I was reading a book, and she was talking to her sister on the phone. And she puts the phone down, she went out to the kitchen, made herself a cup of tea, she came back. She talked to me for a minute or so. And aren't you talking to your sister? Or weren't you talking to your sister? She goes, yeah. And she picks the phone back up. And, yeah. So, no communication. What was really going on is her sister was talking at her, and what did she do? She ran away. But sometimes people just need to vent. But that's not communication. Half listening. I think we've all done this. Oh, just a minute. I got a text here. Go ahead, I'm listening. Let me just answer this one text. So, who's guilty of cell phone listening? I think all of us at one point or another. And that's only half listening. And so we're missing an opportunity to really connect with someone because we're not fully present. This is what we're all trained to do. We're trained from an early age to listen to content. I'm going to tell you 3 things. 1, 2, 3. When you go to the store, get eggs, milk, and cheese. And if they have 4 things, they have to write them down for me these days. But 3 things. Lectures in school. They're content driven. There's no personality to them. There's no emotional content usually to them. It's just content. And then what I call the heart level. And another way to say it is empathetic listening. Here's another one. I need another volunteer. There's something on the board. I'm not going to tell you where it comes from. Go for it. Just say that.
I will be fine. You go have fun with your friends.
Absolutely. I'll be fine. You go have fun. But that's not how it was given to me. So, did you hear how she said it? What emotion did you get from it?
Resignation.
Resignation. Okay. So this is how, when I came home and I got a call about some Laker tickets, and I went to the game. This is a long while ago. And my wife was cooking dinner. Now you know where this is going. I'll be fine. You go have fun with your friends. Don't worry about me. That's a little overdramatic, but that's the gist of it. So what's the tone of that? It's not happy. And this is a fundamental skill we need to learn, is to listen deeply, not only to the content, but to the energy that's under the content. Because like Carl Rogers said, people want to be heard, but when we say heard, it's more they want to be felt. It's called empathetic listening. And empathetic listening, it demonstrates respect and concern and interest for the people you're communicating with. As opposed to, I'm doing cell phones and I'm looking up this, and yeah, I'm talking to you. You're fully present for them. And this really establishes a safe space where open and honest communication can take place. I'm here for you right now. And as I said, present right now, right here and right now, not some other time, and let's make a date to meet later. Right here, right now. Right now. With you. And people know they have your undivided attention, so there's trust that's being built. So you have a little card. Did everyone get a card? I'm putting you to work now. On the one side of the card, there's 12 feelings. Select a feeling that you like or don't like, and internalize that feeling. And then on the other side of the card, there's a phrase. I want you to just turn to the person next to you, and you can do this several times. But one person says the words, I'm fine, and the other person is going to try to guess what the feeling is that you're doing. So I'll demonstrate first. I'm fine.
That was fast.
I'm fine. Fearful. All right.
I'm fine.
So
Okay.
go ahead. Go ahead. Just
That was miserable.
Let's try to be patient.
Miserable. Die or like,
That's what it is. So good. Oh, annoyed? More annoyed. Yeah, annoyed. Yeah.
I'm fine.
that one.
Yeah.
Fine. You say that. Say it again.
Fine.
Fine, just fine.
Yeah. That's more dismissive.
I'm fine.
I'm fine.
Yeah.
Oh, that's happy. It's supposed to be. I'm fine.
Yeah. 10. What does that mean? Yeah. Computer. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's true.
And then you can say,
Yeah.
I am fine. Okay,
Anger.
all right. Bring that to finish.
Said I'm
So I'm sure all of you did a very fine job.
We found new descriptive words for it.
Oh, okay.
That word can fit almost any emotional state.
Absolutely. That's why. That's why it's one of my bugaboos. Is people say I'm fine, it doesn't really mean anything most of the time, but it could mean anything. So take some. Let me backtrack just a bit. In our full workshop, this is a 20-minute process where we do dyads, but we don't use just I'm fine. We work with issues that are actually up so that people can really get practice at feeling what's underneath the spoken communication. So some feedback, some sharing on how that process was for yeah.
We love this exercise, I think. The fearful one, everybody knew fearful with I'm fine. It was almost impossible to say I'm fine with confidence. We found we real struggled because it was bitter or it was annoying. It's like I'm fine. Like don't worry about it. But we just
Or
it was
came
just
on as, you know.
yeah annoying.
Yeah, but understand what's coming up now. That everyone understood fear,
Yeah.
but people sometimes are resentful of confidence. And how dare you be confident? That's
Now you sound overconfident.
So that even that is the underneath of the communication. So that you've identified a response to I'm fine that was puzzling is yet revealing. Oh, what's going on inside of that person? Who else?
I found it a little bit difficult. I could tell that whether it was positive or negative, but it was easy to get tripped up by. I mean, I worked with my wife, and then with the guy who I met tonight.
Right.
So there was a distinction between knowing somebody and not knowing somebody.
Right.
And yeah, it was strange that we could tell positives and negatives, but beyond that,
Right on.
it was quite difficult.
Right. And it's a skill that takes time to develop. You have to work with practicing listening at deeper levels to get the nuances. And yes, you probably need to know the person to get deeper, but
I have a comment. I wasn't playing with anybody because I wanted to see what everybody else was doing and try to guess from here.
okay.
You cannot get any negative information from Lionel because he's always smiling. But what I noticed is some people were smiling, and then the people who were trying to guess what it was did match the facial gesture. So you can smile. I con everybody into not knowing how I really am because I'm grumpy, I'm tired, I'm really unhappy, and so I walk into the bank and they ask me how I'm doing. Fabulous.
Yes, you are.
Nobody ever doesn't believe me. I'm
Right.
fabulous. Pick up my nose and my chin, and nobody understands how mean I can be.
I just don't think they want to cross you. I wouldn't.
Anyone else?
I think that, because I was going to say English is your second language, but it's not. It's American is your second language.
It is
So
correct.
different cultures emphasize it a little different. They have the same thing going on, but their tells are a little different.
It's good point.
Yeah.
Even
But
East Coast and West Coast.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
Say I'm fine.
Regionally.
Yeah,
There's a difference between East Coast slang and West Coast.
that's right.
But the gist of this exercise is to start to feel the other person. So it's not even the words, ultimately. Did somebody else? Because you asked, I think it was you asked me earlier, I am a graduate of the University of Santa Monica, and it's an experiential school, and I had a really deep experience of this listening. We would meet one weekend a month for 2 years, 276 of us, and at the end of every process, there'd be sharing. And a woman came up to the microphone to share. And she said, you know, I'm having trouble with my husband and we're not getting along. And one of the facilitators, who was so skilled at this, stopped her dead and said, when was the last time you talked to your father? I feel that you have a lot of unresolved anger towards what happened to you when you were a child. And she just broke down and bawled because the facilitator, the teacher, heard what she was feeling and didn't need to hear the words, but she could just pick it. Now, I get that that's after 30 years of doing the process year after year, but it is possible to develop these skills down to the point where you can just hear, see, you can see through just about anybody, if you choose to. Even if they don't want to be seen through. Hey!
I mean, don't believe me.
You're a great actress. You play mean well.
I do. I'm a drama queen. That's why they call me Queen Mary.
Ah, awesome.
You're supposed to laugh at my joke. That's the reason why they call me Queen Mary. You two are bad.
So,
She needs to
yeah. So this skill gives you an opportunity to center yourself in your heart. When you are going into a conversation, you're going into a meeting, you're doing anything, you have an opportunity to stop yourself and go, I'm going to go into here and not up here. I don't have to be reactive. And also, when you can see the pain and suffering in someone else, it's hard to get angry with them. It opens up a space for more compassion, forgiveness, and loving. And as I said earlier, it promotes a safe space where honest communication can take place. And it reminds us, even in the most difficult of circumstances, it reminds us that everyone, each and every one of us in this room, has our own hopes and dreams. And a final thought on this, I'll tell you one little story. Other people's issues aren't yours unless you allow it. So no matter how somebody reacts to you, you don't have to push the hand back. I first learned this, I was working at a university when it really anchored for me. It was after my first year of college. I was in charge of all of the practice rooms. That was one of my jobs in the music department. And all the piano majors had their own key. And it's finals week. And the students have to put on a jury in order to pass to the next level. It's really important for pianists. And one of our professors lost his master key. And in their infinite wisdom, the night before piano juries, the campus police came through and rekeyed the entire building, so nobody could get in. And they didn't tell anybody. Well, because it's final week, I usually came in early. And I walked down to the police and got a key. But one of the piano students came in to my office and was screaming at me. She was this far from my face, and I have my employees looking there, and they're going, and she's just screaming, I can't get in, I'm gonna feel my jersey now. And I didn't react, and I understand, you're very upset, I get it. And after about 15, 20 seconds of that screaming, she suddenly stopped, because I didn't fight back with her. She stopped and said, I'm sorry. I'm not angry with you. I'm just frustrated. And I acknowledged, yes, I understand that. Look, I have a key. I can let you in now. So these listening skills are something that takes us a lifetime to develop. And it's really important, I feel, for us to learn these, relearn these, because we don't listen to each other enough. So do you talk at people? Do you talk to people?
Yes.
Or do you talk with people?